And of course, this is your election headquarters. Now, there was heavy security presence at the Chikatadi Registration Center in the Akan constituency of the Oti region Wednesday. JoyNews can confirm the presence of at least 4 armed immigration officers around the registration center, 4 armed police officers at the center, and 4 persons believed to be national security operatives also at that very registration center. Now, 5 persons who were in the queue to be registered were picked up on Sunday on suspicion they were not Ghanaians. 2 more persons were reportedly picked up on Monday and Wednesday. Correspondent Peter Senu has been interacting with residents in that community and filed this report.
For a rural community of not more than 500 people, 12 security personnel deployed to one registration center, one would suggest was heavy. This led to fewer numbers of people coming out to register for their voters' identity cards on Wednesday. Residents say there is wanton challenge on people perceived to be sympathizers of the NDC and with other names. When you are an Ewe and you go to register, you are arrested. We don't understand. Walanyo Apado is one of such persons. A native of Aplao Agopang does not understand why, having participated in electoral activities in the same community since 1992, would now have his eligibility challenged and his new voter's ID card withheld.
One
MPP agent challenged my eligibility, so my card has been withheld.
Since 1992,
Review committee. I have been voting since 1992. I have been to the review committee, but I've been denied. He feels sympathizers of the NDC and persons with other names are targeted and prevented from getting their names onto the electoral roll. For no reason, Ebers are being discriminated against and challenged at the registration center. How then do we end this worrying situation? Walanyo has one advice for the president. The president wouldn't have become president if things were as this. I have never seen at the registration center where one is identified as MPP or NDC. Meanwhile, there are more than one political party in Ghana. If this would continue this way, then he should allow all members of his party alone to register. We can only hope that the last day for the last phase of the registration exercise ends peacefully across the country. Peter Sanu for JoyNews.
Now, in the Ashanti region, the Regional Security Council is set to review security arrangements after the voter registration exercise ends today. Ashanti Regional Security Council says its post-voter registration strategies will focus on security breaches during the exercise and steps to rectify them. Regional Minister Simonose Mensah says it will be crucial in ensuring peaceful elections in December. He points out decision taken at the meeting will be strictly implemented. Now Jima joined the council members on a visit to some centers and filed this report.
A case of a national security operative pulling a gun at a registration center perhaps is the most serious security breach in the region. Controversy over the sighting of some centers and allegations of busing of non-residents into Asawase in particular created tension. Though the RECSEC has condemned and intervened to resolve some of the challenges, others remain under police investigation. Mr. Osei Mensah gives some details.
The reaction of the person who says he's from national security wasn't right. When he found that he should have reported to the security detail at the registration center, and they will have taken the action. So it was just unfortunate, but it means that all of us should be careful. Under any circumstance, let's not take the law into our own hands. Let's use the law, and when we use the law very well, I don't think we have such challenges.
Nonetheless, RECSEC rates the conduct of the exercise largely successful. Mr. Osei-Mensah says a review of security arrangements is critical to deal with anticipated issues during the campaign period.
So we'll go and review after the review of the various directives and the security situation at the various registration centers. During the local government elections, local government level elections, we came out with some security directives. We did the same thing when the National Democratic Congress, they were having their primaries. And we did similar thing when the New Patriotic Party was also having its primaries. And we've done the same thing this time. And all of them, the directives that we gave were adhered to, and the directives did work. So we repeat them, and where we need to make some changes, we make those changes when we get to the discussion stage at the Regional Security Council level. And then we come out with whatever improvement we need. But so far, so good.
Nana Ojima reporting.
Let me bring you some other stories now. And World Vision Ghana survey suggests that 484 children suffered various forms of abuses during coronavirus pandemic. A survey by the NGO has also indicated that 484 children from March till June suffered in the organization's 23 operational districts during the coronavirus pandemic. And the Karachi East and West districts in the OT region accounted for the majority of the cases, where 26 child trafficking cases were recorded, 169 teenage pregnancies and 20 non-maintenance cases were also reported. This, according to World Vision Ghana Protection Manager and Advocacy Gregory Derry. He disclosed this at a ceremony in Karachi to commemorate this year's World Day Against Human Rights Trafficking.
Due to the proximity of the Karachi East and West districts to the Volta Lake, they serve as destinations for trafficked children. These children end up serving their masters as helping hands on their fishing expeditions and farms under hazardous conditions. According to the Partners in Community Development Program, PACODEP, an estimate of 40 children are rescued annually in the two districts. Kaku Yohannes, who is a victim of child trafficking, gave an account of the ordeal he went through while serving his master.
Whilst working in the fishing industry on Lake Volta, we were severely beaten, starved, suffered sleepless nights, forced to work endless hours, and talk to us as if we are nothing. Because of them, we are. Our only wealth was in their mentally and gain from our labor. The boats were once our beds. The net was once our mattress. The fish was once our feet. Our life was once hopeless in the hands of our shackled masters.
Although philanthropic organizations continue to work to rescue these trafficked children, stakeholders are of the view that child trafficking and abuse are on the increase. They identified the emergence of the coronavirus, which led to the closure of schools and lockdown, as contributing factors to the increase. The World Vision Ghana Child Protection and Advocacy Manager, Gregory Derry, therefore implored the government to work towards eradicating the canker.
World Vision Ghana is calling on government to strengthen the capacity of the agencies responsible for protecting children. Government should also expand social protection programs to vulnerable families. One of the causes of trafficking we heard is issue of poverty, large family sizes. And I believe if government is able to address some of these root causes through social protection programming, expanding leap for such families, it will be a way of contributing to end child trafficking.
The Trafohini of the Karachi traditional area, Nana Ufusu Apia, pledged the commitment of traditional authorities to ending child trafficking in the district.
Engaging a child to work overnight is criminal and should be condemned. I wish to commend World Vision for the bold step initiated and taken to fight against the human traffic saga. The Karachi Traditional Council and civil society are committed to working with the front line to end human trafficking in Karachi West District and possibly Ghana.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Karachi.
Now, relief is set to come to Salvation Army Hospital in the Central South District of the Ashanti region as work begins on the maternity block. Government is initiating construction of a 30-bed capacity block at the Wiamwase Salvation Army Hospital. Love FM's Kwesi Debra was at the sword cutting ceremony and has filed this report.
Congestion at the facility has compelled authorities to combine maternity and other patients in wards due to limited space. District Acting Director of Health, Robert Mensah, says it's crucial to address the situation.
We have about 300 mothers visiting the facility for continuous care on monthly basis average. This block has been very, very important to us. The reason being that the maternity block that we have here, as we speak, is a little bit congested based on the activity that goes in there. Because there is pregnancy school that goes in there, there are other individual activity, one-on-one counseling that also goes in there. There are a lot of activities that goes in there.
The proposed 30-bed maternity block will be funded from the District Assembly Common Fund at an estimated cost of 1 million cedis. It will have theatre, antenatal and postnatal, doctors and nurses' offices, intensive care unit, blood bank, emergency room and kitchen. Alexander Jedu is Director of Special Projects at the Office of the Chief of Staff.
You can't govern sick people within your country. So it's always important to run programs, run interventions that promote health delivery. So this background necessitated the Chief of Staff to contact the District Assembly Common Fund Secretariat to support this project.
Member of Parliament for the area, Mavis Nkansa-Boadu, says the project sits well with government's Ghana Beyond Aid agenda.
A healthy citizen is a productive one. So then if you're supposed to be beyond aid, self-sufficient and self-reliant, we need healthy people in order to make it possible. And how is it going to be possible if our children are dying or coming up sick? So I believe that this building is going to serve that purpose, and it's in line with the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. When we look at the developed world, the maternal mortality rate is pretty low. It's very, very low as compared to us down here. So I believe that with such buildings across the country, it is going to reduce the maternal mortality and subsequently make us more productive.
Hospital Administrator Major Stephen Boadu is grateful to government.
Looking at our facility, we are in need of so many things, and one of them is what he has just brought to us. So we are very grateful to her.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Debra.
Now, with over 50 healthcare workers infected with COVID-19 disease in the Bono East region, health authorities have expressed worry at the rate at which health workers are contracting the virus outside their places of operation. Regional Health Director Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng disclosed to JoyNews, JoyNews' Anas Abed, that most of the health workers with positive cases have not recorded cases in their respective workplaces. There's more in the following report.
The Bono East region currently has over 50 health workers contracting the COVID-19 disease. Regional Health Director Dr. Fred Adomaku-Boateng, in an exclusive interview with Joy News, indicated that most of these health workers are picking their infections outside the health facilities.
Currently, if you take Bono East, all the 11 districts have recorded a case. But almost half of the cases are from Tachima municipal. And so far, 285 of them have been de-isolated. And if you take 285 of them, 2 of them we lost their lives, and over 50 of them actually are health workers. So we have been analyzing the number of health workers that have been infected. I can speak to that of Bono East. we realized that most of the hospitals that even these health workers were having the case or the problem, we have not recorded patients with COVID there. So it kind of, then where are we picking it from? We can adduce to this that likely we are also picking it from community.
With COVID-19 cases recorded in most schools across the country, Dr. Fred Adumaku-Boateng stated that only one positive case has been recorded in the region since the reopening of schools.
I can say so far we had one confirmed case of COVID-19, and this confirmed case actually was, we got the case when they resumed, they were coming, and we were doing screening. So when they resumed, then we picked this case and we tested, and it was positive. So we isolated the case. Then we did contact tracing. We had 19 contacts from this case, and then we put all of them in quarantine. I can tell you that all of them have been discharged.
Dr. Fred Adumaku-Boateng highlighted steps taken by health authorities in the region in order to contain the possible spread of the COVID-19 disease in the various senior high schools.
You should be responsible in making sure that the measures that will stop the transmission are put in place. How we are comporting ourselves as a region in terms of application of the measures of prevention, those are crucial, because there is no way me and you talking now, you are in mass, I'm in mass. We are perfectly safe. So wherever we are, if you're able to institute those measures, have a way, don't allow people to crowd. All people, we should come together so that we put in the measures. If we have decided we will do, then we have to put in measures to prevent the spread.
He, however, called on the people to stick to the outlined safety protocols in order to stop the spread of the pandemic.
Let's enforce the masking, and then the social distancing, then hand hygiene. These are tried and tested that if you continue to do it, there is no other law or measures that are so effective as compared to these.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
Now, the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, has launched with immediate effect Operation Thunderbolt 2020. This operation is aimed at mitigating the effect of the spillage of the Bagri Dam. NADMO says reports available to it indicate a rapid rise in water levels of the dam as compared to the same period last year. Let me bring you details of that statement issued by the organization. And it says that the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, following its standing agreement with its partners, Sonabel, the agency responsible for the management of the Bagri and Kompenga dams in Burkina Faso, has gotten a report that due to the rate of rise in water levels of the two dams, the authorities of Sonabel have decided to begin the spillage of the two dams. The current levels of the dam as of today, 5th August, this was yesterday, 2020, is 127.41 meters, with a rate of rise at 38.5% as against 28.66% same period last year. It continues to say that the level of the Bagri Dam as of today being 234.62 meters, with its rate of rise at 94.42% as against 60.58% same period last year. Due to the rapid rise in the water level of the Bagri Dam, the opening of the dam valves may be effected as soon as the level reaches 234.75 meters, and that may happen any day between yesterday, that's the 5th of August 2020, and Monday, the 10th of August 2020, due to the possible effect of the spillage of the two dams on areas downstream the White Volta. Some communities along the river are likely to be affected, as in flooding, and NADMO will want such communities to be on the alert and prepare themselves for the spillage and its impact on them and the activities. We urge them to move to higher grounds and safe havens in in all such affected communities, and that it gives a breakdown of the areas that will be affected and how it intends to engage the communities. Let's go onto the phone lines now. We've been joined by George AC, who is the National Communications Director of NADMO, but we also have on the line my colleague Albert Sorry, who is in the Upper East region. Let me start with you, Albert. Kindly just paint the picture for us. Last year, you were on this beat almost every year. You bring to us the report on the Bagri Dam. Tell us what has changed since last year.
Right. So the last time we had very serious flooding as far as this spillage of the Bagri Dam is concerned was in 2018. Last year there was some spillage, but it wasn't so much to cause any destruction. But this year, the warning again has come. And usually when you look at Bagri, the maximum rise in the dam usually is the 334 that they spoke about in the statement. Usually when it gets there, you get a lot of water. And then because of rains also in this part of the country, when they spill the dam and the water comes from Burkina Faso to add up to what the rains have already, brought into this part of the country, then that is where you usually would have floods. Now, I've been talking to some of the farmers that I've interviewed in the past. And yesterday, one of them told me that, in fact...
Yes, sorry about that, Albert. So that's my colleague Albert, sorry there. Albert trying to get himself composed for this update. But Albert has been speaking to some of the farmers who were affected by this 2 years ago, and they've been speaking to you. Albert, if you're ready, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I was saying that for the farmers, they were hearing about it for the first time as far as this year's village is concerned. When I called them, the statement came out just yesterday evening. So it will take maybe the rest of today for the information to get to them. Now, what happens with Bagri spillage in the Upper East region is that now because of the spillages in the past, you no longer have people who live in the waterways. What happens is that these farmers continue to go every year to do their farming in the waterways because, one, those are the only lands that they have, and two, they say that the soils there are very fertile and they have nowhere else to farm. So you are still going to have farms that will be destroyed if the water from the spillage is so much. So most likely there won't be destruction to homes in particular, but then we could have a lot of acres of farmlands destroyed.
Okay. Albert, thank you very much for that update. Let's speak quickly to the Communications Director of NADMO, George AC. George, Mr. AC, the concern is that, is it not too late? Because you're saying that you could spill the dam anytime from now. Do the people have enough time to relocate? What is the strategy?
Yeah, thank you. I told you, as you read, we are in constant communication with our partners in Burkina Faso. And so as when they update us with the rate of rise, then we minded to inform or relay the information to the people who live along the banks. And so, yes, I don't think it's too late. We've relayed it. It's good your reporter is saying, as of the time he called some of the people, they have just had the issue. And we are happy you are using your platform to help us relay the information to the people down there directly. So, yes, we are dispatching our men. As you read, Operation Thunderbolt is being launched. Our Deputy Director General, Abu Ramadan, is leading a team to the place. They are going to base in Tamale and Bogatanga, and then they reach out to sensitize the communities and then give our men some training on how to assist the people to evacuate their properties and things. But I was happy to hear your reporter saying most of the people's buildings are no more closer to the banks of the river and not to waterways, which may be directly affected. But they are farm produce and then cattle and goats and co may. So those ones must be helped to move them to higher grounds and safer places. So that is good. And the other one, farm produce, if millet, maize, and others, if they are ripe or they are mature for harvesting, this information is going to prompt them to go fast to begin harvesting before the spillage is done, so that they don't lose all their harvest.
Mr. Isi, that's all time will allow us for now. Thank you very much. We'll return to you for more on this as and when the story develops. That's George Isi. He's the Communications Director for NADMO. And you're watching News Desk with me, and Asmini.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The government task force on retail trade has given the strongest indication of closing down shops of foreign retailers that have not regularized their status after the grace period. A statement from the Trade Ministry announced resumption of the committee's work from next Monday. Reacting to the statement, Center Coordinator of CATS International, a policy advocacy group, Apia Kusiadumako, said Ghana has to review its retail laws in conformity with that of the Continental Free Trade Agreement. There is more in the following report.
According to the Committee on Retail Trade, this move has been influenced by a change in the approach of enforcing laws on doing business in the retail space. The Trade Ministry in a statement noted that this follows proposals from some members of the committee, including the Ghana Union of Traders Association. It maintained that the police commander and local authorities, as well as assemblies within the areas of inspection, would be invited to join the task force. The Trade Ministry added that all shops closed by Guta will be opened for assessment. The task force, after inspection, will issue each shop owner with a required notice of compliance. This is to prevent harassment by any other interest group. However, for those that have failed to regularize their status, they will be given the required grace period to correct it. Failure to do so would result in the closure of their shops.
That blanket minimum capital requirement for foreigners who want to come and do business here, I think it doesn't help, because there are some sectors that someone doesn't need the stated capital of 500,000 cedis to enter into the market. And so I think they are going to look at case by case and then allow people to trade. And I also know that the GIPC law is also under review. That would also take into consideration some of these differentials in terms of the capital limit for foreigners who are doing business in the country. I mean, the ECOWAS protocol allows for members, citizens of member states to be able to move and transact businesses within the community.
The task force is expected to use this exercise to also assess other business operating permits of these shop owners, of which failure would lead to the closure of their shops. The Trade Ministry believes that this new way of enforcing the laws on retail trade should help deal with the recent tension that has arisen between Ghanaian traders and foreign counterparts that are trading in the retail markets.
And that's it for Business. Sports is up next. You stay tuned.